We got a couple days of practice in. We gave the players a chance to rest, focus on academics, spend a little time with their families. The coaches got a chance to get a little bit of a head start on Boston College. We got out on the road and did some recruiting and got a chance to rest a little bit ourselves. Not much, but it was a productive week, and the players came back, I think, in a really good state of mind. It's great to have Keelan back out there. He looks like there's a chance that he'll be available. A huge surprise today was I see this kid number 7 running around out there. Now, this is just pre-practice, and it was Cam Ross. So he's been cleared to start resuming a little bit of activity. Now, that doesn't mean he's ready to play or even close to ready to play, but at least he's out there doing that. And I think that always gives your team a boost when a couple of guys like that come back. But this is a huge challenge for us. I know what BC's record is, but I also know what the tape tells me. And in studying these guys offensively, defensively, and special teams wise, it's a good football team. You talk about offensively, their run numbers aren't great, but you look at the Louisville game, and they got after Louisville in the run, and so they're certainly capable. Their quarterback is, touted as one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He's big, he's strong, he's physical. They're using him more in the run game now. He can make every throw on the field, and then he's got receivers to throw to. And certainly, Zay is a guy that you have to pay attention to. You can't put you're not going to stop the kid, right? You can slow him down. You're not going to stop him. He's that good, and we have a ton of respect for him. But, what we're trying to do here defensively, in particular, is just get good at what we do. And I've always felt like if you have repetitions doing things that you believe in and you have a strong foundation, allows you to play fast, you can make plays. So that's what we're going to try to do. BC defensively is probably as physical a team as we'll face, and maybe not quite as physical as Michigan, but right there. And that's saying a lot, because that's one of the most physical fronts in football. So they're very impressive there. They've got corners that can cover. They play a really nice scheme. They keep the ball in front of them. They hustle to the ball. They tackle. And then special teams wise, anytime you've got the returners that they've got back there, you're holding your breath a little bit when you kick it to them. But we're going to go do our thing. I think we think that the best way for us to continue to make improvement, like I said, is just to zero in on what we do best, and certainly have some game plan adjustments, but try to continue to build the foundation of this football team. So our guys are excited to play. I've been told that this school has never beat BC, and I've been told that it's somewhat of a rivalry, at least from our standpoint. So I'll be interested to see how that is. It's homecoming. It'll be nice to see some people back on campus, and hopefully in the rent, we're anticipating a good environment there. I'm sure BC will travel well. So it's one of those games that you always look forward to. A heck of an opponent, a great challenge, a great environment, and a lot to play for.
Where do things stand with Devontae Houston as far as help?
He's working as hard as he can to get back, but it was a high ankle sprain. He did a little bit, on the side today. We'd love to see him on Saturday. We'd love to see him. We need all the depth we can get at that position.
Jim, how's Ian doing in Swenson after what he went through at Ball State?
He's doing really well, actually. He responded very quickly on game day. Certainly the week off helped him. He was able to do a little bit non-contact today. We're always going to proceed with extreme caution when it comes to head, neck, and spine. And so our doctors will make the decision whether or not he's cleared to play. And if they're adamant that he's cleared to play and he's perfectly fine, then we'll consider playing him. If there's any hesitation, they won't clear him. And I'll respect that decision.
Is Keelan one of those guys that when he's in, the game plan is a little different?
It can be. It can be. You've got a guy that has proven that he can do some things down the field. He can win the 50-50 ball. He can stretch the field a little bit. And, him being able to do that thing certainly puts a little stress on the defense, but it also helps in that it opens some things up for other people. And so, you know, we're gonna play him, and we're gonna hope that he holds up. I'm sure he'll be a little bit rusty, but I know this. He's worked very, very hard to get to this point. We all know how Keelan is. You know, he's a passionate competitor, and just having his energy on the sidelines, on the field, in a jersey with shoulder pads and a helmet on, ready to go out and play, will help this team.
What makes Flowers such a good receiver?
Speed, quickness, change of direction, the ability to get off a bump and run, the ability to avoid hits. You know, people try to jam him. They try to get hands on him, but he's so nifty as he's running up the field or running across the field or down the field. He's just hard to get. You know, I've watched every game that they've played, and I haven't seen him take a hit, you know. He has amazing body control, and he's got confidence. And he reminds me, I don't know, you guys remember Isaac Bruce? Isaac Bruce that played for the Rams. When you watch Zay play, you're watching a young Isaac Bruce is who you're watching. That's what you're watching. The same type of movement skills and the same type of route running ability and the same elusiveness. And, you know, Ike rarely took a hit either, you know, so he stays healthy.
What sort of things do you do during the bye week? Do you go back and evaluate the first part of the season? I mean, what do you kind of do?
Bye week you do. You go back and you do a heavy self-scout. So, you know, what's working for you, what's not working for you, what you need to emphasize more, what you need to maybe take out. We meet with the players and give them, you know, a kind of a bye week evaluation of where we think they are and the things that they need to do to improve over the course of the next 4 games. We certainly look at our opponent, and then we recruit, you know, we look at our upcoming opponent and we recruit. But, you know, a lot of people go, we go back and we analyze the whole season. You know, every week you analyze what you did the previous week, and you know you have not only a mental log, but you have statistical data that tells you what you're doing well and what you're not. So you have feelings about it, then you have, you know, pieces of paper that give you the raw numbers. So we're always keeping up with that. So, but you do go back and you say, okay, you know, are we playing this guy enough? Do we need to play this guy more? Are we asking this guy to do the right things? Are we putting him in tough situations? Because our objective is always to maximize what our players do well. And so you have to constantly think about those things.
Is there any downside to a bye week?
Not at this point in the year. You know, I believe, you'd have to check me on this, I believe we were the only team in the country that had played 8 games without a bye. And our young men they've been working. I mean, they are great workers. And they haven't taken a breath. And I think it was good for them to have a chance to kind of reset. And like I said, take a breath and get away from football a little bit, focus on school, get home, you know, just kind of be normal. And people always worry you're gonna be rusty coming off of a bye. Well, I didn't feel that today. You know, I felt a great energy. So I'm excited for these next few weeks and certainly this week.
But we didn't hear a lot about Justin Jolie early on. Did you expect this level of production from him, or is it kind of come out of nowhere?
We expected it eventually, and that's when it came eventually. There's a learning curve for certain positions. You know, that's a difficult position to play, you know, because you're not just blocking, and blocking can be complicated. You know, who do I block? How do I block them? If they change fronts or alignments, now what do I do? But, you know, also in the pass game, it's not just learning how to run a route. It's how do you run a route versus a particular coverage or a particular leverage, and how does your route adjust? So there's a lot of learning there. And I think sometimes it just takes young guys a little while to get comfortable doing those things and feel confident doing those things. And what you're seeing with Justin, and you're seeing it with a lot of our young players, is they're starting to feel comfortable doing what they're doing. And it kind of takes me back to what I led with, is that, you know, we got to find out what we do well and keep doing it. And then have a wrinkle or two here and again.
You mentioned you look back at the first 8 games of the year. What are some of the things you identified as the key areas that you need to improve upon over the final third of the season?
Well, just perfecting alignments, perfecting technique, in defense, I'm talking defense, perfecting our play entry and our leverage, becoming better tacklers, communication. Offensively, it's eliminating pre-snap penalties that put us behind the stick. So it's a emphasis on focus. It's once again, it's communication up front amongst the offensive line, so we're getting our bodies where they need to be and our hats on the guys they need to be on. It's consistency in the pass game, so it's the consistency of the route runners, the protection, the quarterback, and then on special teams, our coverage units in particular, just making sure that we're cleaned up in terms of our technique and our play entry, kind of the same things as defense, so that we can surround people and take our shots.
Coach, how was the bye for you? You talk about the players getting a chance to rest. You've been going full tilt for almost a year now. Did you get a chance to catch your breath despite all the other things you had going on?
No. Which that's okay. I'm used to 20-game season, back in the day. So I would rather work. My kids aren't here. If my kids were around, it might have been different. But I got to go out and see a couple high school games, and I got to spend time with our players, and I got to spend time watching, our first 8 games and preparing for Boston College. So it was a great week.
Where have you seen the most improvement in Zion, over the course of these first 8 games?
Confidence, and his willingness to pull the trigger, whether that means throwing the ball in there or tucking it and running. And I think that's just decision making, which comes from being more confident. The more you play, the more you understand a system, the more confident you're going to become in that system, and then you're more willing to pull the trigger and go, and make those decisions. And I'm seeing him do that. And it's a lot like we talked about with Justin. There's a process that you have to go through when you're a young player, and it's fun to see these guys go through it because they're aggressive as they take it on. There's just no excuses. They don't allow themselves to make excuses. We don't allow ourselves to make excuses as a football team, and that's something we take pride in.
When you did the deep dive, did you come away encouraged with some of the progress that you've made, or did you find areas, oh man, we just haven't done enough here? Was it?
No, I'm encouraged. Yeah, I'm encouraged. I mean, certainly there's look, we're 3-5, so. If we were 8-0, I'd probably been, ecstatic. But we just still, as coaches, you still find a whole lot wrong. I'm very encouraged every single day I'm around these players, and just by their attitude, the way they work, the direction we're headed, the progress that they're making. I just feel like we're headed in the right direction. And it's a long road. I mean, I don't have to tell you what it was like, what this program was like. They struggled, and for whatever reason, I'm not sure. All I know is that I'm ecstatic with the players that we have and the attitude they have and the work ethic that they have, and their intent on becoming better. It's fun to be around.
When you bring a new staff in, you put in a whole lot of new stuff for players. Have they gotten to the point where they kind of get what they need to do now?
They're getting it. Yeah, and getting it, and that's repetition. You have to be careful as a coach how much you ask any player to do. You get in a trap sometimes. You go, it's easy. It's just this. Well, it's you're piling it on, and there's a point of diminishing returns. And so for us, it's just doing what we believe is best. Putting our players in the best position to maximize their ability and minimize, what they don't do as well as, maybe someone else does, and then continuing to do it, and that consistency. I think when you get good players that are willing workers, that's where success comes from.
How has Victor Rosa handled everything? That one thing, next thing that's gotten piled on him throughout the season?
Very impressive. I mean, Victor is very impressive. I made a comment, I believe it might have been after North Carolina State. You guys probably remember. I said I felt like he was a little overwhelmed for a few plays, and we took him out, and then he recovered. And I just haven't felt that way since. And not only is he playing running back, but he's our punt returner, our kick returner. He's playing his hometown. He's a true freshman. And, it's only him and Robert Burns, so it's not like he can take a blow or take a break. So just the fact that he's maintained this intensity that he has and the attitude that he has and the work ethic that he has and the focus, it's very impressive.
Well, when you talk about going out and recruiting this week too, how much does it help to know that you've got a hometown guy who's here, maybe wasn't expecting to have the role that he's had this year, but to excel in it too and be able to carry that with you?
I think it's good when you're in state. We want to do a good job in this state. We want to identify players in this state that we think can come in and help us be a winning program. Victor was one of those guys. And so, the proof is in the pudding, right, as they say. And you say, listen, if you come here, right, you're going to get a chance to play, The players that deserve to play, that are doing it the right way, that are going to help us win, they're going to play. And, there's a lot of proof in this program of that philosophy, I think.
What's your overall assessment of your defensive line? Because BC's offensive line has been disrupted all year. They haven't started the same group in 2 games.
We're thin. We don't have a ton of depth. But we play hard. And it's important to these guys. And they're learning to play with better pad level. And they're playing more violent. And they're gaining confidence in what they're doing. And they care. And, it's a good, solid group that'll get better and better with time and with more depth. Or younger guys getting experience that creates more depth.
Given how thin this is, especially at the running back position, what kind of went into the decision, or did anything go into the decision to keep Victor as a return guy?
Well, we'd kind of cycled through guys, So Keelan was out, Cam was out, Bruton was out, Devontae was out. It was like next. That's really kind of what it was, next, and he was next. And he was next as both a punt returner and a kick returner. And
when you saw his numbers having to pick up at running back, did that kind of concern you at all?
Listen, I can be concerned, but it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody cares, right? At the end of the day, nobody cares. They just don't care. And Victor really didn't care. My numbers go up, my numbers go up. It's how I have to approach it. His numbers go up, his numbers go up. It is what it is. There's no alternative. And I can guarantee you, BC and whoever we played last time or next, nobody cares. Fans don't care. They might say, oh, God, boy, Victor, loads on Victor. And, boy, you guys are beat up. But at the end of the day, they just want to see a W, right? And that's what we want to see is a W. So we got to make sure we focus on the right things.
We talked to Malcolm Bell today. What is it that you've seen where has he progressed this year?
I'm going to say confidence again. I'm going to keep coming back to that word. And the confidence comes from knowing what to do, the repetition and doing it, and then the success that he's having. He's playing at a higher level now, and his consistency has really improved. There was a time there with him, and, he hadn't played a lot, where you weren't always sure what you were going to get. And he's not afraid to go up and challenge people. And he has confidence in himself, and he has confidence in people around him. And I just see, like, this kid that's lighting up. Like, his whole personality is lighting up. And it's fun to see, It's really fun to see. Like at practice, several weeks ago, you might not even hear a whisper from him. And now he's more vocal, and he's making plays, and he understands what he's supposed to do. And, that's why one of the reasons you coach is to see guys make progress like that.